had my love for Brachydios tested this much. A bloody kraken monster.
Hello, my fellow hunters. What a day. 3 new mind-blowing monsters, one of which is a tentacle monster. A new inspired locale in this oily basin. And oh, I don't know, we're all going to be playing Wilds next week with an out of nowhere, oh, by the way, it's happening really soon, open beta test. I don't really know how the day could be getting any better, but hell, maybe we all just go out and get some lottery tickets. In any case, let's get into this in a lot more sweet detail, because, there is a lot of sweet detail to get into. Oh, alright. Violence, blood, and crude humor are the best recipe for any good Sunday afternoon, and I think we should take a trip to the oil well basin. And this, I think, is really Coral Highlands level of Monster Hunter design. Like, it's inspired. It'd be so easy to just give us a Wilds version of the classic volcano-y lava map, and while there's definitely some lavery, fiery volcano aesthetic going on here, the idea of this tar, oily, soaked mountain interwoven with this ancient-looking forge run by a tribe dedicated to it, the Everforge, and then mixing in these tarry pools and steam vents, and it's all pouring everywhere, and it just makes it so grim and inhospitable, and you just instantly get the impression that anything that might live here that is adapted to this is going to be brutal, because you will need to be, because this is not an easy place to exist. It immediately gives the vibe that food would be scarce, that competition would be intense, while also having a mystery beneath the surface, which of course is going to be tied to the Black Flame and the whoopsie, we didn't mean to summon him, oh god, so yeah, really just bravo, what a locale. So we are arriving to it here with this big congregation, and I assume this is going to be after the Scarlet Forest, but this is like a lot of people. So my real main question instantly is, do we think that this is going to be seamlessly connected to the Windward of the Scarlet Forest? Will it be like in sequence, or will there be some locales that you can't just walk to, it's only some of them, and this is more of a cutscene transition? Then again, you would think every map is going to be walkable between, so at no point there is any kind of loady transition, so I could totally believe that this is actually off the Windward, not off the Scarlet Forest, and you can sort of travel in 2 different directions from the base map. In any case, clearly story-wise, we're having a big expedition here, and also clearly we knew what we were doing and what we were looking for, as the "oh, is this it?" means, oh, is this the oil well basin? So presumably we've been told to go here, or maybe we've met a member of the Azuz tribe that actually exists here running the Everforge, and that's quite exciting. So of course this then, the Everforge is ridiculous, this giant, well, I mean, forge, but all of this smoke and machinery and the culture of this people that's revolved around it is going to be fascinating to learn about and explore. And it would seem then that the Windward Plains has a tribe of people, and then the Scarlet Forest doesn't have a tribe of people, just a tribe of Wudwuds, and Wudwuds are people too! And then on the Oil Well Basin we have this, the Azuz tribe. Now, I thought the Windward Plains people had chosen a really inhospitable place to live, but these Azuz people are either hard as anything or absolutely mental. Maybe a little bit of both, but at least they seem warm and friendly, so really that's what matters. And look at it, the industry buzz. You've got so much mining and ore and these giant forging going on, the heated metal, the scale of it, how you even hammer that, I don't know, but this is really, really cool. It does remind me of where Little Miss Forge is from, the Trovarians and their whole society, but the Wilds-esque tribal version. And that's really exciting. I imagine that Gemma's going to have a great time here once the story moves here. And I mean, look at this. Has the Azuz tribe built all of this? Or perhaps is some of this like left here that's found that they've kind of taken over and added to and brought back to life? Indeed, the bringing back to life of the Forge seems to be something that's kind of going catastrophically wrong in a moment, so that's going to be really nice to figure out. And indeed, the base camp itself is looking really interesting. And just this right here, right? Just being able to see a people's way of life in a way we never have in a Monster Hunter game is something I personally am so into. Like, the world itself I find so fascinating, and we rarely get this kind of human living in crazy monster environment element, because normally, you know, villages are villages, you talk to people, then you load, and now you're in a hunt, and, you know, you really do not get that connection that Wilds is really celebrating. So this is just really, really fun. This, they're starting without us, I assume, is the bringing to life of the Everforge, because she ends up with the, no, this wasn't supposed to happen, we released the Kraken, oh shit, and yeah. I love that everything, by the way, is slicked in the oil and the tar. A firebrand, I assume, is like a Everforge engineer, you know, kind of a person as part of the tribe, and then we get to actually go onto the map. The steam vents, everything just coated, like, you can't express how much of a brutal environment this is. And then we get a little exchange, I say exchange, it's one killing and hunting the other, between two new, I assume, small monsters. I could believe if the little chubby lizard things were just big endemic life, but I think they're just small monsters. I think you'd be able to slinger rip off a part from them. They are just adorable, and they're innocent, and they're just having a great time, and then little new raptor over there on the right is just like, boom! Like, don't do that, they don't deserve that. Honestly, I can't even tell what's going on with these new raptor guys' faces. It looks like they are designed to literally hammer in to prey, to fight with these bony plates on the top and lower of their jaw, but where is their actual mouth and their eye? And they look really well in this environment, and the actual oil pools themselves, I assume that's going to be like wading through the water in the Scarlet Forest, but maybe even harder, maybe need a high level of a skill to do it properly, and then these guys just don't look like they could even defend themselves. They're just kind of sat there waiting to get smushed and eaten by the new raptors. It is really cool though seeing brand new small monsters to really add to the living breathingness of the oil well basin. And then we get to see, well, bats, but also what kind of monsters would call this place home. And then this here, by the way, like seeing this almost like sewer exit system just pouring the oil and the tar. Like, imagine Gogmazios in here. He'd be having the time of his bloody life. Please that let somehow be a title update. I mean, the theme is right there. But this little layer, this den filled with the stuff, and then being noticed by Rompapolo, which, by the way, is an absolutely incredible name. Like, Rompapolo. It sounds like it's going to be a really fun jovial monster. Oh, Rompapolo. And then it turns out to be a horrific plague doctory insect brute wyvern. Like, are you serious? So clearly this guy is responsible for the armor set that the hammer was using in the weapon trailer. That mystery is answered. And I mean, look at him. I really do think he is an insectoid. I don't think we're looking at a reptile here, which is fascinating for multiple reasons. Firstly, I have often said that you can do more insect monsters by just taking an existing skeleton and insectifying it with the features, with the movement, with how it be. You can have a brute wyvern, but it's an insect. A flying wyvern, but it's an insect. Hell, Astalos kind of has that vibe going for him. He is much more dragonfly with chitin than he is normal, you know, reptile-y flying wyvern, but he's still got to be a flying wyvern. But here, this is clearly an insect categorized as a brute wyvern, which is the other interesting thing, because you could totally tell me this is a neopteran that just is in the shape of a brute, and I would be like, yep, that makes sense. But I guess for ease of translation, if you see this and get told it's a brute wyvern, you kind of know what to expect with what it will do, even if it's not a reptile like most other brute wyverns. And look, beyond that, it's kind of semantics. We've got a new insect monster here, it just shares a familiar frame, and it's bloody horrifying. Look at it! That is a face only a mother could love. It's bulbous, poisonous, it's like tongue wafting about out of its mouth, like it feels like it would inject you, and it's got mosquito vibes. The fact here that it lifts on its own tail to then pump out its poison gas into the ground and the tar and the oil, so the gas then bursts from the surface, roiling it up and exploding you. I mean, seriously. Now, it does have kind of blue gas there and then more pinky here, so I wonder if it might have sleep and poison, which is definitely something associated with tarry stuff like Radaban, Origani types. But let's have a look at this new contender then. And God, I really can't get over him. Like, the actual aesthetic of him, these bulbous pads on his back that is clearly storing and generating and morphing with the gas he uses for a weapon. He's got little mantis claws too. He's clearly not like a physically strong combatant, just very slippery with his ability to move around in the oil unhindered and then coat everything in this debilitating poisonous smog. But then, yes, he gets absolutely pounded by our other new monster, Ajarakan, who is very much, well, Rajangi. I mean, obviously he's a fanged beast, and it's always exciting to get a new fanged beast, a new mammal into the party, and he is very Voljangi, a fire rock Rajang-esque, but I really do prefer his design and how it's done, and this big bear hug crush he's doing is really interesting. See, him squeezing the Rompopolo is literally forcing the poisonous gas out. And my question here is, which is the stronger monster? In the Windward Plains, doshaguma is higher up the pecking order than your chatacabra, though it is very much more equal with your balahara, and I think that's what's going on here. I think these two are sort of on the same level, and I think if this turf war got to play to completion, it would be a draw, and I think maybe an ironic draw in that the squeeze releasing the poison is what then does the damage to the ajarakan, and it's like, oh god, I made a mistake there, and that's really fun. But like, look at him, this giant rocky bony protrusion on its back, like almost tortoise-esque, midi Zora vibes, and the power and strength of it, the fact that it can flame it up. It's got your classic monkey agility going on, which is always nice to see, but then this, clearly it's enrage, the heat of it. Like, I wonder if you could even mount it at that point. I always love a monster to actually have a kind of state where you just can't mount it because it's too dangerous to exist near. In any case, yeah, and I love the hunter's glowing sword to match it, but it looks like it's got some serious power, and you can do your clash with it too. But as we'll see later, it does fight with other members of its own species, so I do wonder if this one is actually a pack monster of the oil well basin. In any case, back to the village, and this seems like the main deal. I feel like we're going to get here, they're going to request our help in activating this big forge, presumably the Everforge, and maybe help will be go kill an Ajarakan or a Rompopolo, get their parts, that'll help us light it up, which we then do. And then we beckon at the fire spring with our own hands. I'm assuming then that the fire spring is the inclemency on the oil well basin, the big climactic apocalyptic weather event, like the downpour in the Scarlet Forest, except here the tribespeople are the one incurring it, not the map itself. So maybe after this cutscene, the tribespeople will just regularly make the fire spring happen, and that's the kind of timer that you're working with, and it's not so much the apex monster reacts to the fire spring like naturally, but is more drawn to it by its nature, which is why you can still tie it to the violent weather change. The big question is what the fallow and plenty will be like, if indeed that does follow the pattern here. They're all very excited about it, but then, you know, everything gets very crispy. So I assume this is probably the fallow. The air goes this orange, everything heats up, even the pipes start glowing, markings on them appear, sparks in the air. Now you get lava bubbling up. In fact, I assume that during the either plenty or fallow, the ground is just oily and tarry, there's no just raw fire and lava anywhere, and then the fire spring happens, and then, in In fact, actually, if the fire spring causes this, then this would be the plenty, actually, with the fallow being just the tarry zones. But in any case, we will have a phase during and after the fire spring where the map alights itself literally, and we start to get this burning environment that the ajarakan like because they're especially active during the fire spring. And indeed here we see that they are fighting together in a pack, throwing explosive rocks. And then we get to see that around the place, one of the environmentals is bits of forge that we can activate with our slinger to use as weaponry, which is just so fucking cool. Initially, I saw this and had like immediate like rampage PTSD flashbacks, but no, it's just an environmental trap themed to the oil well basin, and it is perfect. In any case, this mount finisher from the lands right down is ridiculous. I absolutely love that. And then we see the Everforge going wrong. Too violent, too bright. I assume this is going to be the first time it happens cinematically, and we're having a bit of a oh no moment. No, we just wanted to light it. We don't want to light it this much. I absolutely love it. And then this guy might be my favorite moment of the entire trailer. Like, he's so, like, not panicky. He's just having a moment of, guess we'll die. Like, it's just such like a, well, this isn't great, but, wait, what am I having for dinner? Like, he's just so relaxed about it and just a little bit confused. Oh my god. Then we get introduced to the Black Flame, and it seems like once, as they say, they kick off the Everforge and such, it's going to happen whether you want it to or not, and that's really, really cool. What a way to do it, and the flow of the lava. So then the Black Flame, who clearly is attracted to the Everforge alight, and this is interesting. We don't know his name, we just know the Black Flame, like the White Wraith, which I have to assume isn't coincidental, and there might be more of them. Maybe this guy is a little bit, while he is confirmed to be the apex of this map, maybe a little bit above, a little bit more important than Duna and Ray Dow. He's got a title. They've not revealed his official render yet. He doesn't have his actual name yet. He seems very connected to the story of the map and thus the game, unlike probably and Ray Dow. They have cutscenes and stuff, but this seems a lot more impactful. And of course, he's an entirely new skeleton, a terrestrial octopus monster that spews fire covered in tar. I mean, this has to be a big deal. They can't just throw this in and not celebrate it and really let it breathe, because it's new everything. This is fantastic. I have wanted so long a cephalopod-esque creature that isn't just a single spectacle final boss, and this looks very much to be that. He is of a size to hunt regularly, and here in all of his glories when he first comes to play in front of the lit forge, and he is holding two ajarakans in both tentacles. Easily crushed them, probably literally killed them both, and he's like, well, I brought you a present. And oh my god, I am just so in love. I want to see more of him. Oh, the one on the right is actually still flailing and alive. In fact, I think they both are. Okay. Well, at the very least, I'm sure he could finish them off whenever he wanted. And wow. Oh, we just wanted to light the forge, not, you know, almost get everyone killed. I shouldn't mock it. It's probably a disaster, you know, and I can't wait to find out what they did want to happen, what they expected to happen, compared to, oh no, this has happened. But then we get to see his scale actually in-game, and yeah, he is very much big, but clearly fightable, clearly a normal monster, not like a spectacle fight or anything like that, and he is beautiful. Standing up on all of his tentacles, the glow at the end, his actual blue is perfect, the amount of fire he can blast out, and then we get to see him actually have a grab, where you're picked up, wrapped in the tentacles, you get a good, lovely eye-to-eye, you fall in love, and then he slowly brings one of his, what should be little octopus suckery, you know, vents that they have on their underside, and then blasts fire out of it. Like, that is ridiculous. So this is known as the Black Flame. I assume maybe at some point he does have literally darker flames, maybe a part of an enrage or a special attack, or it's just because he's covered in, you know, the black tar and oil, but he is marvelous. I hope we can see him, like, de-oiled, because the bits that we can with the blue, with the patterning, with the glow, he looks just beautiful. I really am going to have a hard time deciding where to place him, but you guys know how I feel about octopi, and oh my god. So that then is that. A lot to think about, a lot to discuss, and a lot to get excited about. Obviously, of course, the beta, and there is a lot more external information, things being released, devs talking about stuff, and we will get you a whole other bunch of interesting details very, very soon involving the beta as well, so look out for that. But for now, I really wanted you all to have my thoughts on everything we've seen today, and oh my god. In any case, like you've enjoyed this, let me know what you're thinking about it all. Hit the bell, subscribe, and consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below. Until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.